Hello, and welcome to the 11th webinar in our 2017 SAP SuccessFactors HR Live Demo Series. Today's session is on SAP Jam Collaboration. My name is Jessie Labenwolf, and I'm going to cover some brief housekeeping. We'll be addressing your questions at the end of our demonstration, but you're encouraged to submit questions as you think of them using the Q&A panel on the left side of your console. If you experience any technical issues, please let me know via that same Q&A panel, and I'll help you out shortly. Today's session is being recorded, and we'll be sending out a link to the replay of this webinar in the next couple weeks. Keep an eye out for it in your email. Finally, I'd like to highlight the resource list, which is on the right side of your console. It has a few assets for you to download, as well as a link for you to register for the full webinar series. You can access this list by pressing on the green icon at the bottom of your console. And with that, we are ready to dive in. Today's webinar will be led by Roger Noya, who is the Director of Product Marketing for SAP Jam Collaboration here at SAP SuccessFactors. Roger, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jessie. Hello, everyone. As Jessie said, my name is Roger Noya, and I am Director of Product Marketing here for SAP Jam. I'm actually based out of at the SAP Labs facility here in Silicon Valley in the San Francisco Bay Area. And today, I'm going to give you a short overview of SAP Jam. I only have about 7 slides, and I'll go through those quickly. And then the rest of the session today, I'll be doing a live demonstration on our 3 primary usage scenarios in HR for SAP Jam Collaboration. A little word of warning, I am just getting over a sinus infection, and I'm really sinusy and congested, so I will do my best not to sneeze in the microphone, but apologies in advance. I will try my best, if at all possible. So to get started, let me just give you a little background, as I said, on what SAP Jam is. SAP Jam is SAP's collaboration platform. It is, by definition, an enterprise collaboration platform, and it connects people, information, experts, content, and business processes within your company to help you get work done. SAP Jam is part of the SuccessFactors HCM suite, but it is also a standalone application for usage within the entire company. Oops, sorry, forgot to mute myself out by sniffling. SAP Jam streamlines the entire, all HR digital transformation processes by simplifying processes, helps with continuous learning, helps with HR and employee communications. It helps drive employee engagement. It helps with diversity and inclusion programs. And it also helps with the HR and other help desks within your organization. SAP Jam also supports HR processes throughout the entire employee lifecycle. As I mentioned, SAP Jam is actually part of the SuccessFactors HCM suite. And in that respect, it actually works with and on top of other SuccessFactors applications working as an overlay. But in some instances, such as with learning and onboarding, it actually becomes an active part of the excuse me, as part of the process by having changes to those applications where Jam is either embedded within the application or where Jam works alongside with the application. And I'll be doing the demonstration of both of those scenarios in a little bit. Oh, I forgot there was a build on this slide, sorry. So the items on this slide, the gray items, these are items where Jam works as an overlay, augmenting the existing processes with those items. So, we're basically working as a standalone application, supporting those on an as-needed basis. The items that I just added, which are the knowledge base, the pre-hire onboarding, the blended learning, and the mentoring and coaching, those are actually integrations to those applications, and Jam has added new functionality, or that application has added specific functionality to support SAP Jam within that application itself. For more information on those, please reach out to the respective product teams for those other applications, as I won't be covering the view from those applications within this demo. I will be showing only the Jam portion of specifically the learning and the onboarding ones. The next item I wanted to mention is one of the assets that I have made available that Jessie has mentioned are available in the customer area. It's one of the downloadable items that you can see as part of this session. The first is a a case study for one of our reference customers, which is Sargent& Lundy. Sargent& Lundy is a 125-year-old company in the energy manufacturing industry. They actually make nuclear power plants. They have 2,500 employees, and they actually have 5 generations of people in their workforce. Their average employee tenure is actually 15 years, which is really long if you think about it. They use SAP Jam to support their blended learning programs along with SuccessFactors Learning. They also use communities of practice. They do extensive information and expertise sharing within their organization, and they use it to drive diversity and inclusion programs. This, as I said, this asset is freely available. Please download and read it. It's actually brand new, hot off the press within the last month. And I encourage you because that's a really good case study from a company that is very well established, and the changes that they're going through within their organization because roughly I think 50% of their organization is due to retire within the next 5 years. So they're going massive hiring, and they're bringing in lots of new people, and as I said, they have 5 generations of people in the workforce. So just from a cultural experience in the company, they're going through lots of changes. The next time I want to mention is actually a research study that SAP conducted specifically for SAP Jam, and this is called the Forrester Total Economic Impact of SAP Jam, and it was commissioned in July 2016, and they actually spoke to our customers and interviewed them to find out, simply by using SAP Jam as part of their business processes, what kind of results are they seeing? I'll just go over this briefly. This report is actually also available as part of one of the 2 assets I made available. It's a long read. I think it's about 40 pages, but it's really interesting to see actual business results for companies actually using SAP Jam. The first is companies that use Jam as part of their sales cycle, they actually saw a 9% increase in their sales cycle time. This means that salespeople are actually able to sell more during the year. Forrester quoted this as effectively being by adding another week to the year where salespeople could actually sell. When salespeople are able to sell, it actually drives revenue within the organization. Next, to the right is lower content creation costs. This was for customers who use Jam to aid in their maintenance and update and creation of their learning materials, actually. And this is because Jam makes it actually easier just to get information and to get consensus and to find out what changes you need to do. I actually use this to actually create this presentation where I post my content, and then my subject matter experts can comment on my content. I'll actually be doing a little demo of this, this functionality a little bit later. Next is for service organizations, and we found that service organizations were actually able to resolve service tickets 14% faster by using SAP Jam, by bringing together the subject matter experts and the service organization together to exchange ideas and to actually talk about the problems without having to use email, and also making it easier for people to actually find subject matter experts within their organization. Bottom left is making it easier to find experts and information. This is overlapping many different organizations, sales, service, for example. In general, it means it is, people are looking for subject matter experts or mentors or people who have knowledge that they need to help them get their job done. And by using SAP Jam, they said it was 15% easier, overall, to help them find these people. It's just generally easier because SAP Jam has a recommendation engine, and you have more exposure to people. In the middle is lower onboarding costs. Onboarding is one of our most important scenarios that we have for SAP Jam, both from in working with the onboarding team at SuccessFactors, but also just talking to our customers. Onboarding is important because it's the first thing that your new employees see and deal with in your company. So you want to make onboarding a great experience to get them off on their right foot. And by using SAP Jam, they found that onboarding costs are actually 20% lower, simply because you don't have to email people. It's just easier to get people together in one place and get the new employees the information they need. And finally, on the bottom right is it's 20% lower training travel costs. And this is a direct quote actually from one of our reference customers, which is Marriott. And Marriott told us that simply by using SAP Jam, because they have hundreds, if not thousands, of locations worldwide, they generally, prior to using Jam, they would fly new hires, regardless of where they were in the world, to a training facility in the Midwest. But by doing this, they were effectively pulling the employees out and away from their new facility. They weren't able to engage or learn from the people at their facility. So by using SAP Jam, the employees can then instead do virtual training and stay within their local or / regional facility and engage and learn what they need to know about their local business, rather than being flown to a remote location for a month and be completely disconnected from their business. So, by using Jam along with virtual training and their LMS system, they're able to reduce their travel training costs. And that's pretty much my song and dance on the overview of Jam. Next, I'm going to be going into the demo portion, which will be the majority of the rest of the session. And I'm going to be covering the 3 following primary priority topics for SAP Jam in HR. They are onboarding and crossboarding, the SAP Jam modern intranet and HR communications, and finally blended learning and training. Before I go in, I just wanted to say if you have any questions, I mentioned to Jesse I was going to be doing this. If you have any further questions or would like more information about SAP Jam, at the end of the session, a pop-up poll will be happening, and it will allow you to indicate that you'd like more information, and I will be plugging that throughout the entire session. And if you have any questions, as Jesse mentioned, feel free to ask them in the Q&A session. I will be looking during my demo session, and I'm happy to do stuff on the fly as well as necessary. We should have plenty of time so I can address the questions and do on-the-fly demo as necessary. Okay, Jesse, so now I'm going to switch over to the live demo. And Jesse, if you can confirm for me when you can see it, I would appreciate it.
Absolutely. We're buffering at the moment, but we're moments away from seeing what you see. And yes, we are into the Leadership Development Academy. Please take it away.
Great, thank you so much. So let me just switch back to my home. So just a little FYI, for a little dirty laundry, I have to keep clicking in my demo system every now and then because there's a really short timeout on it. And so if there's a little strange delay, or if I'm talking, I'm pausing, it's because I have to pay attention. I actually click the demo system, otherwise it'll kick me out. So just sorry about that. This little technicality with our demo systems. So before I get started, I just want to point out that the scenarios I will be showing you are just examples. SAP Jam is different than every other application in SuccessFactors, actually, and if not in SAP as a whole. SAP Jam is all about potential and about how collaboration can make your existing business and HR processes better. You're not limited or even required to use SAP Jam in the manners that I'll be showing you. It's just examples of what's possible, but how you implement SAP Jam within your company and within your unique business processes is entirely up to you. The core premise of what SAP Jam is about is adding the human element to business transformation. And we do that by transforming the day-to-day business processes to make them better, making the employee the core of all processes. If you're interested in learning about our best practices from collaboration experts at SAP, be sure to indicate you'd like more information at the end of this webinar. So to start, I'm on the company homepage. The first thing you see here, excuse me, I need to cough one moment. Sorry about that. So the first thing you see here is SAP Jam's intranet capabilities. In this example, you can see that the company is using the real estate above the SAP Jam homepage to broadcast information. If a company doesn't actually have the SAP Jam intranet functionality enabled, what the employee will see is just the regular feed here. So the intranet capabilities actually insert themselves above at the very top, making it easier to communicate and engage with the employees because it's actually the first thing people see when they log in. Now, if I switch over to the overview page here, so just a quick mention, with SAP Jam, you can actually have multiple pages. So what you see here is I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, and they're all the same functionality. They're all using what we call the modern intranet capability of Jam. It's just another page on the company intranet. So here you can see it's the same intranet functionality, but with a different approach. In this example, they've customized the homepage more by adding more rows and actually different content to address the needs of this organization. The SAP Jam homepage is completely customizable, and your organization can configure it so specific audiences have control over their own areas and can contribute without having to work through complex IT management processes. You can even create role or departmental-based homepages, so only people in those areas would see the specific content you wanted them to see. For example, sales departments can show metrics and reports on their current quarter's sales goals, while service organizations can show current ticket volume and priority of tickets, all within SAP Jam with real-time information from their other business systems. This functionality that I'm speaking about is actually a bit more complex than I can do in a live demo webinar here, but if you'd like more information or a more extensive demo on a specific sales or service or IT use case using what we call, the functionality is actually called areas, please indicate that you'd like more information, and the SAP representative will be happy to coordinate a live demonstration with the SAP Jam team. For now, if I click over to the far right to go to the Learning homepage, you can see that the same functionality is now being used to create a learning portal. This is all real-time information from SuccessFactors Learning that is actually integrated with this my demo system here, and with the same capabilities before, but it's just a different layout for a different usage scenario within this company. Now let me jump back to the overview page. Clicky, clicky, there we go. So now I'm going to show you how easy it is to actually manage the overview page. So I'm just going to go into edit mode, and you do that by clicking the little magic wand over here and hit edit. And I'm able to do this because I'm I'm logged in as a company administrator. Employees wouldn't be able to do this normally. The editing a homepage is actually very easy. As I just showed you, I just click the edit button, and I can now go into what we call the page designer layout. And everything in the page designer is actually drag and drop. It's cross-browser, very easy, no installation or software required. And you can see here, I've got my banner at the top, and then I've got two sections here shown where different kinds of content are shown. As you can see here in the middle section, over here there's a section called HR announcements, and this area is where the HR team controls the content. As part of your company homepage, your IT department can actually configure areas that are owned and that are specifically managed by different teams, and they are given a separate folder, or the content can actually be pulled from within elsewhere within SAP Jam. On the left side, I've got something that's called Company Blog Posts. This section is actually controlled by the Executive Leadership Communications team, and only they can contribute content in this area. So let's rearrange this quickly and swap the columns via drag and drop just to see how easy it is. It's really easy. All you do is just click and drag, and click, drag. There you go. No, that's it. 2 seconds, and I've changed the layout. This kind of flexibility empowers organizations by not having to create complex intranets requiring extensive teams of developers or projects to manage just a layout change. It really should be easy to share information within your company, and you shouldn't have to have a month-long project just to move some blocks around on your page. As I scroll down, now you can see how I'm able to mix and match content as I see fit. So I've got some images over here that are nice clickable items to drive interest into the topics. Down here on the bottom left, I actually have a video playlist, or what we call a multimedia playlist, because it's not limited to a video. You can actually have audio playlists as well. And these videos can actually be content that's within Jam itself, or you can have content such as YouTube videos. And just by clicking on it, they would play directly within the browser over here. On the right side, there's another content widget, and this area is automatically populated by new content as it's added by the R&D team. Just like the areas above, it's an entirely different team, and it looks just within their content folder, so that team can contribute freely without having to send files around through complex workflows or with anyone else having access to modify their content either. As you can see, SAP Jam has transformed how the intranet works, and it makes it easy to use and even easier to configure, empowering organizations to do what they need to do quickly, freeing their IT organizations to work on complex infrastructure problems instead of approving content. Let me just scroll back up and cancel out here so I don't make any changes to my demo system. Next, I'm going to take you into the onboarding scenario. And I do that by going to my Groups tab. And you can see here I've got some favorites over here. So for quick access, I just go into the Employee Onboarding group. Now, this group is used by the HR team to provide a community for all the people that have joined the company in the past 2 months. With SAP Jam, you can create groups that are tied to what we call dynamic member lists, which are controlled by some aspect of the employee's profile. In this example, it's the employee's start date. This frees HR administrators and onboarding teams from having to manually invite employees to the group. It's done automatically by the integration with the HR system, which in this example is SAP SuccessFactors Employee Central. You could just as easily make groups for specific organizations, employees in certain regions or countries, and by using the data that is found in the employee profile to bind the employee to that specific member list and therefore to any group. Onboarding groups give new employees a safe place where they can learn about the company, its business, and its culture. Companies need a safe place like this for new employees so they can learn the ins and outs while also getting exposure to connections with subject matter experts throughout the entire company. We've all been in that situation when you're new. You don't want to ask a stupid question or embarrass yourself in front of a large audience. The onboarding group gives you the venue to get your questions answered in a safe place. While we're here, let me point out some of the capabilities of SAP Jam being used in this group. Hey, Jesse, can you confirm me? Can you actually see my mouse cursor if I move it around, or do I have to select stuff?
I'm able to see your mouse cursor moving around.
Okay. Okay, great, thanks. That makes it make it much easier for me. So from the top, you can see that we have a nice graphic at the top with some text overlay. It's actually very easy. You don't need to Photoshop skills to do this. Jam will actually overlay the text for you. But at the right, you can see here that I've got a people widget, and this is being used to showcase the onboarding facilitator, Tessa. And if I hover over it, you can actually see a little pop-up card that shows up. This is actually Jam, and Jam is pulling the information from the employee profile. If you actually have Skype, I don't have it here hooked up for my demo system, but if you have Skype, the little Skype icon will pop up, and you can do a click-to-call directly from there, and it will invoke your Skype or a link or Skype for Business application. People widgets can be statically assigned to show a specific person like we have here with Tessa, or you can configure them to be dynamic to show people that recently joined or people with the most endorsements. It's completely up to you, and you can actually see how they're filtered by clicking the little eye icon at the top right on any of our widgets to show what the filtering mechanism is in place. Next, scrolling down, you can see that we have a video, but it can also be a video playlist, as I mentioned before. And to the right, we have a slideshow widget, which shows presentations. Slideshow widgets make it easy to show people content you want them to read, and they can actually flip through them by clicking the little icons. And if I were to click on the item itself, it would actually take me to a bigger screen view where I can actually make a comment on the page. Let me go to the right page here. I need to go to page 2. All I need to do is click the comment button at the top. I can choose comment on a highlighted item, and I don't know if you can actually see it very clearly in the video in the live stream, but there's a little box that pops up, and you can drag and drop it to be wherever you want. You can actually resize it, and then just click within it, and you can put a comment. This is too dark. And you hit post, and then the comment appears within the Jam panel on the right-hand side. By commenting on a document like this, it actually has many great benefits, and this is actually one of the those subtle benefits that companies and organizations actually don't appreciate about Jam. But just by doing a comment like this, as I mentioned, this is how I do document review here in SAP for all of my content and presentations, just so I don't have to send email. By doing this kind of functionality, by putting comments in the documents within SAP Jam, specifically from a learning or onboarding perspective like I'm showing here, the content owner knows exactly what I'm commenting on. There's no misunderstanding on what I could be referring to, as I'm marking it exactly, and it stays here in Jam for what I'm talking about. Second, all the stakeholders in the group, and in this case, the people in the onboarding group, don't have to get 5 megabyte or larger email attachments from each and every other person in the group. It would simply just be unmanageable if as more people join the group, or if you have large organizations. Just imagine having everybody sending in their email attachments or their questions in their document. It's not feasible, and it doesn't scale well. Third, the commenting can be done even without downloading the document. As you can see here, I'm actually looking at the document within SAP Jam's interface. But it can also be done via the SAP Jam mobile app, which all of our customers have free access to. You could be actively participating in a document review from the airport. I've done it many times, and our mobile apps make collaborating just as convenient as our web-based application, just on a smaller form factor. Fourth, the course instructor can then, in the future, when this onboarding group has exited their onboarding period after the 60 days that I have configured for, the instructor can then look back at all the comments this group had and then revise the items they commented on to make the future onboarding programs better. As you can see here, the panel here on the right shows all the comments that were happened on this page, and it'll stay here until the content is deleted, and it will actually even maintain revision control because Jam actually also does version control, and the instructor can actually go see if there's other versions of this, what was received well, what wasn't understood very well on this specific version of the document. And finally, if the course instructor were to leave the company next month and a new instructor is brought on, the new instructor can easily gain access to their group via the company administrator and then go back and see the corporate knowledge and information and see what happened in this group. If this exchange of knowledge was done over email, the instructor would be starting from scratch because they wouldn't have any of the information from the prior instructor. Let me cancel out here. Now if I continue down the page, you can see a content widget on the left for the onboarding guides, showing some onboarding documents. There's also a to-do task list here in the middle, and this is for people to take action based on something on their onboarding program. And then on the right, there's another content widget, but this content widget is special. It's connected to a company document management server, and in this case, it's Microsoft SharePoint. SAP Jam has many out-of-the-box integrations to popular enterprise content management systems, including Microsoft SharePoint, Box, Google Drive for Work, OpenText, and SAP's own Document Center. As a side note, if you're interested in this capability, we have many more integrations available. Be sure to indicate more information at the end of this webinar to get a custom demo or more information about this specific content management system that you're using. I'd like to point out also that what I'm showing you, I did mention it before, but everything I'm showing you here is real. This isn't mock-ups. This is actually live Jam. I actually have a live SharePoint server here. So the one I'm showing you right now is actually me clicking on a document in Jam. Jam is now in real time going out to the SharePoint server. It's going a little slow here because this is my own private demo system. I'm the only user, and it times out. The SharePoint server goes to sleep after a while, so I have to make sure I click on it every now and then. But you guys just saw it was out relatively quick. And what I need to point out is Jam is not storing this content. It is actually all this content is actually being served from the SharePoint server in real time. Jam does not actually store any remote content within its system because the SharePoint server is the authoritative content owner, and Jam asks it, hey, give me slide 1, and Jam is actually getting the thumbnails from the SharePoint server in real time. So as you see here, I'm actually looking at the SharePoint content, delivered from my SharePoint server. But again, Jam adds something special to this. This is SharePoint content, but I'm still able to do Jam functionality. So I can still like the content, and I can still comment on the content within Jam. And this comment that I put actually stays in Jam, even though the content is in the SharePoint server. We call this document-centric collaboration, and we're adding modern collaboration capabilities to legacy document management systems such as this one. As a small preemptive question I get whenever I actually show the SharePoint integration as I'm doing here, the capabilities to the various content management systems that we have vary by integration. The SharePoint integration by default is read-only, but it can leverage another SAP product, the SAP Document Center, to have the availability for read-write capabilities via SAP Jam. Some of our other integrations actually do have real-time read-write where you would upload the content into Jam and it actually gets sent over to the other system. Jumping back to the demo, let me back out of here. I can also download the document directly via SAP Jam, all without having to go into VPN. Actually, what you're seeing here is my cloud-based SAP Jam demo system actually talking to a on-premises Microsoft SharePoint software server that just happens to be hosted in the cloud for my demo system. SAP Jam is actually extending the reach and functionality of the content management server by making it easier for me to access its content. Within SAP Jam, I can link a specific folder from the repository to any SAP Jam group, and it's up to me, the group administrator, to decide what's right for my group, so they only see the most relevant content. Let me show you how easy it is to do. Let me go back here to the top. All I need to do is go to the group admin, edit the group, and only the group administrator can do this. Sorry. And next I go to the Setup tab, and I scroll down, And at the bottom here, there's a little section for remote content management system. So if you have a different one, the name of it would appear here. This system is actually pre-integrated with my demo SharePoint server, but you can actually have multiple servers, SharePoint, OpenText, or Google Drive for work, and multiple repositories linked. If I want to add a new one, I just hit Add External Folder, choose the repository. In our case, I only have one. It's the best run one. It's actually asking the server right now in real time what repositories are available, and now it's showing me the folder structure. So here's the different folder structures that I have available to me. And then I just pick the one I want, and then I select it and hit Add. I already have it, so I don't have to click it here, so I'm just going to cancel out. Let me cancel out again. And there, it's done. You can actually see it here when you have a remote repository link. It actually, if the remote repository is linked to a group, the remote repository will actually show up here on the bottom left. And if I click it, I can actually browse the remote repository just like I can browse the content area within Jam. So the content area here is content that's within Jam, and down here is remote repositories. And I can navigate the remote repository just like it were Jam content. It just happens to be doing it on the fly in real time, and it's asking the remote repository as I click through it to give me the folder lists and show me all the different content. Very quick, very easy. No more hunting through dozens of servers around the world, through thousands of folders to find what I'm looking for. I've got the exact folder my audience needs here within my group, and it's all relevant based on the topic that I'm showing them. If I jump back to my overview, scroll down further down the page, I've got some dynamic discussion widgets here. These show the latest discussion topics and open questions that I have within this specific group. And this makes it easy to see what's outstanding and what's recently happening within the group. And you can configure them as you like. You can point to specific topics. You can remove them if you want, and you can set up filters as you see fit. Now I'm going to go in and edit this overview page to show how quick and easy it is to edit this page, just like it is for the company homepage. The UI is more or less the same. It's just within a group context. And now here at the bottom, you see I've got different asset groups for the different weeks worth of assets within this blended learning program. But I want to reconfigure it. I don't really like the layout that it has here, so I'm going to rearrange them very quickly and easily. This one is actually in a list view, but I kind of want to make it more dramatic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new row, and that's very quick and easy. All you do is hit the little plus icon and Jam insert a new row here. I'm going to add another column, rearrange the sizes. I'm going to move week 1 up here. I'm going to drag week 2 from down there, rearrange this one, move week 1 over here, grab week 2 from up there. And I like the layout better, but it's not that very compelling for me. It's not that interesting. So I'm going to configure each of these widgets to use a different layout, and I'm going to use the gallery one and hit OK. And then Jam will change. Come on, clicky, clicky. Oh, too many. Hold on, let me go back. Make that 2 instead of 3. I'll do the same for this other one. Change this to 2. Make it gallery. Click the wrong one, sorry. There you go. Oops, come on, you can do it. There, much better. And now you just need to get rid of the extra rows down here at the bottom. And I'm good to go. As you can see, it was very quick and easy. Just a matter of clicking, dragging, and rearranging the boxes to get them the way I want. I didn't have to have an industrial designer or graphic artist person. I could do this on the fly based on the needs of my group. And since I'm the course administrator, if something's not working or people aren't seeing the assignments I want them to do, then I can just rearrange stuff and make it more prominent for them. Now, I'm going to take you to a variation of onboarding, which is the China Employees Onboarding Group. This group is it's a complex name, and it's not as complicated as it sounds, but it's technically called an International Global Assignment Cross-Boarding Group. It's a lot of words, but basically it means the employee took a new job in another country, but they're still in the same company. By nature of being integrated into the SuccessFactors HCM suite and having access to the intelligence services provided by Employee Central, employees that change regions can automatically be invited to an SAP Jam group for that region. And it's basically an expat community for people to learn about their new country. This kind of group has proven to be critical for the success of relocating employees because it also provides a way relocating employees to get information about services for their families before the move. Where are the good schools? Where is the closest market? Where's a good park, for example? Now, let me just do a quick show and tell on the administrative functionality of how to actually configure a dynamic member list so you can actually pick people who are new to the company. I do that by going to the little gear menu at the top right, and if you're a company administrator, you get the admin menu here. Now I just go to the Users tab, go to Users, Members, and Lists. I click the Dynamic Member Lists. And you can see here, I've got several dynamic member lists already configured in this company. First one you see down here is China only, and this is configured to pick people who are basically based out of China. You can also see here that I have one for new employees, which is for the other group that I was in, and it's actually very quick and easy. They're not hard to set up at all. I just need to wait for it to load. So the way that the member lists work is I can configure them based on something in the employee's profile. In this example, it will be showing you that it is for new hires who have started less than 60 days ago. Because this is a time-based membership, it means that the employees only have access to the group in question during the period indicated here. But honestly, any field in the employee profile, so region, department, manager, etc., even custom fields that are SAP Jam specific can be used to bind an employee to a member list and therefore to any group in question. Let me go back to my group one second. Now I'm going to take you over to a different group, which is the Leadership Development Academy. This group is part of the HR Employee Development Team's Leadership Development Program. This group isn't tied to a specific course in the LMS, but it still has access to the courses because the LMS is actually integrated to Jam as a whole. As you can see that here in this little widget in the middle, which is called Related Trainings. This list is actually an advertisement of courses the leadership program team thinks would be beneficial for the participants to check out. The program administrators use this group to share information, posting content for their participants to read, and also they use it as a space for participants to work on for team projects, posting their completed projects for peer review. Next, I'm going to change over to a learning and training scenario, which is my situational leadership training room here. In this company, they use SAP SuccessFactors Learning as their formal learning management system. The LMS has been integrated to SAP Jam to provide blended learning programs. I'm in the situational leadership training room, and this group is integrated with the LMS and bound to a specific course. I can see the course by clicking the item details link over here, and this provides a quick and handy way, just to make sure you know what you're talking about, and it's actually to test the integration with the LMS. As you can see here, it's tied to the specific course. This is actually SAP Jam showing the course information in real time from the LMS. When a course is connected to a group in SAP Jam, it makes it easier for the course administrator and instructor to manage because the LMS handles all the invitations automatically, making it quick, easy, and a seamless experience for the employee. Going back to the overview, you can see that the instructor has tailored the group to serve the needs of the topic, leadership training in this example. The instructor uses this group as an informal community where the employees can share thoughts and discuss the materials in this course. And they use this course because this course is actually completely virtual. There's not even conference calls or presentations because the audience is worldwide. So all the interaction in this group actually happens within the SAP Jam group and is completely on the fly on their own schedules. At the top, you can see the instructor has placed a message. Let me just scroll a little bit. The instructor has placed a message that is featuring 2 courses within this group. These are other related courses the instructor feels would be beneficial for the employees and is a key part of our integration with SuccessFactors Learning, and it was actually one of the reasons why we did the integration to SuccessFactors Learning. It's so that SAP Jam can act as an advertising vehicle for course materials, giving new ways to actively promote courses to audiences that wouldn't otherwise know the information is available. Our customers tell us this is a critical component of why they like the integration between Jam and SuccessFactors Learning, because the course materials and just in general the programs available within the LMS don't often get used because employees don't typically go to an LMS system as part of their daily lives. But employees are always in Jam, so why not take advantage of the capabilities of Jam to promote material from other areas. So it's not even just LMS items. If you have a sales or CRM system integrated with Jam, such as SAP CRM or SAP Cloud for Customer, you could do the same capability with sales opportunities or sales accounts or service tickets for the matter. It's not limited to actually the LMS. It's any third-party business record can be promoted in the same way. This gives exposure to the other courses, which drives registration and ultimately improves the ROI of the learning programs. If an employee clicks on one of these, they'll be taken to a quick view, which is actually still within Jam, showing future availability of the course, which is actually down here in the LMS world. In SuccessFactors LMS, they call this scheduled offerings. And if they're interested, they can click through to the link and then be taken to the LMS to register for the course there. If I scroll down further, you can see the instructor has posted various assets for the employees to review this week. All these materials are for informal learning. They're supplemental materials that complement the formal materials within the LMS. These materials are here so the employees in the course can discuss amongst themselves and ask questions on the content. If I scroll a little further, you can see additional content has been added by the instructor, making it quick and easy for the employees to see what they should be working on. As you can see here, there's even a task on the right for the employees to do based on watching this presentation on the left. Now, if I scroll back to the top, you'll notice this group is designed differently than the previous group that I mentioned, the Leadership Development Group. But the fundamentals are the same. It's what the course or the program leader feels is important for the people participating to see and have access to. In SAP Jam, your learning organization can create templates for groups such as this to give each course a similar look and feel, but the course administrator and the instructors can then have the flexibility and freedom to tailor the group to their audience's needs. Let me show you how quick and easy it is to customize this group just like I did the other ones. All I need to do is click Edit. It'll show the page designer again. And let's say I wanted to move the recommended courses. So this is a real-time data widget coming from the LMS, as I mentioned. And let's say I wanted to promote it better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new row up here. I'm going to move this up here. I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to bold this text, make the font bigger to really make it stand out. And just to be funny, I'm going to make it orange. There's no way you're missing this. I don't really like the way it's using the space over here. I think it's too much space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another container column over here on the right. Just like in the prior group, I'm just going to hit the little plus. Jam adds a nice little column right here. I'm going to drag Charles Hale, the instructor, over here. And I like that much better. Oh, you know what? But I forgot that there's another instructor in this course. Charles has a pal, so I'm going to edit the people widget. In which case, I'm going to say, okay, select another person. I'm going to type in Tessa. Hit done. And then I'm going to change the view from carousel. So even for things like people, there's different views. The carousel is the one you see actually back here in the background. It's just a single person view. If I switch to list, it'll show multiple people. And then I need to hit S here at the title to make it plural. And you can see here now I've got two instructors shown. Very quick, very easy, all done within Jam in a matter of 2 clicks. Now the only thing I need to do is get rid of these empty containers down here. And you do that by clicking the little remove box there and there. And that part's good. Oh, but you know what? Since I'm looking at it down here, I also wanted to remove one of the content items from last week because I didn't like it. So let me just change this slideshow widget and point to something new. So I'm going to clear that slideshow, pick a new one. As I mentioned before, slideshows are actually PowerPoint in Jam. I'm going to do frontline leadership, hit OK, and there you go. The slideshow widget makes it very quick and easy, as I mentioned before, to point people to the content I actually want them to look at just by putting it right in front of them so they don't have to go digging within the group. All I need to do now is publish the page, and I do that by hitting publish at the top. I can choose how important it is. If I do a major change, it will do a notification in the group. If I do a minor change, it'll do a silent/secret publish. And my page is now live. One thing I want to mention, because people always ask about it, if at a later time I need to revert the page, I can do that very quickly, because in everything that you do in Jam, there's actually version control. And since I'm the group administrator, I can access it by clicking the versions link here at the top, and I can see all the prior versions of this page. If I go back, say, for example, to version 2, I can preview it in real time. The little banner over here saying this is a preview, and if I was so inclined or needed to, I can revert to this version, and then on the fly, Jam would change back to this version and insert a new version right where I was. As you can see, it's really easy to customize the look and feel of your content within your group. And honestly, the possibilities are limitless, and this gives the group or course administrator lots of flexibility to make the group work to suit the needs of their audience. So I've shown you several examples of how SAP Jam can be used for the 3 major HR processes: learning and development, onboarding and cross-boarding, and finally, company intranet. Let me summarize in reverse order what I've shown you. The first is what I'm showing you right here, is a situational leadership training group. And this is a blended learning community linked to a formal learning course in the company's LMS. In our example, it was directly linked to an integrated SuccessFactors learning management system. But you can also achieve a standalone learning community as shown in the Leadership Development Academy. Let me quickly jump back over here. Again, this is a standalone SAP Jam group for employee development, but it is still able to take advantage of the integrated LMS, but not being directly integrated or connected to a specific course. So I can still promote other courses here. Next was the China Employee Onboarding Group. This group leverages the Employee Central Intelligence Services capabilities to automatically invite employees when they change locations, and is an example of a critical best practice that has proven to impact the success of onboarding programs for employees that have relocated overseas. The next one was the Employee Onboarding Group. This can be used for new hires, but also for employees changing departments within the company, and is used to provide a community for new hires to learn about the company in a safe environment where any question can be asked and employees can be connected with subject matter experts. And finally, going back to my company homepage, the company homepage allows HR and other organizations to quickly and easily communicate with employees and get their jobs done without having to work through stringent content management processes simply to share information. Since everyone in the company is already using SAP Jam to do their jobs, it's a natural extension of the technology and makes communicating and engaging with employees a snap. I've shown you some of the major capabilities and priority scenarios in HR for SAP Jam. If you'd like to learn more about or have an extensive demonstration or a demonstration for specific scenarios, including sales, service, or IT organizations, please indicate in the poll that will be appearing shortly, and we'll be happy to get you in touch with an SAP representative. A little side note, a little promotional item: if you happen to be attending one of our upcoming SAP events, SAP Sapphire in Orlando, which is in 2 weeks, or one of the SuccessFactors Success Connect events in London in June or Las Vegas in August, we'd be happy to do live demonstrations from the show floor as well. As I mentioned, SAP Jam is all about flexibility and freedom to collaborate in the ways your organization needs to work and the way that you want to get your work done. The possibilities are endless, and we have proven research and ROI of how SAP Jam can impact your business. I encourage you to please take a look at the 2 pieces of content I provided as downloadable assets in this session in the customer area, and to learn more about SAP Jam and the success one of our customers has had, which was the Sergeant Lindy example I gave you earlier, and how SAP Jam can drive their learning and diversity programs. Jesse, back to you. I'm done with my demo.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Roger. Well, as much promoted, I want to offer everyone here on this call an opportunity to schedule a one-on-one demo. If you're interested, just go ahead and click on the Yes Radio button, and we'll get someone in touch with you within the next 5 business days. There's even yet another opportunity once we close out this session. There's a survey. We just want to give you enough opportunities to get the information that you want and make sure that you're able to ask those questions. So I'm going to leave the poll up while we start to attack some of this queue we've got. We've got quite a few questions here for you, Roger. So let's start with, what are the differences between the Advanced Edition?
Yep. Okay, sure.
Sorry?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead. I'll go ahead and ask that one. So the question is, what's the difference between the Advanced Edition and, let me see, 1 second.
The Enterprise Edition.
Okay. So the SAP Jam actually has multiple different editions depending on the buyer and the scenario. Typically, the SAP Jam Advanced Edition is what you would be getting if you purchased SAP Jam as through one of the SuccessFactors bundles. I believe it's the Enterprise bundle, as well as the Learning bundle, if I'm not mistaken. Enterprise Edition is our flagship edition. It has all functionality, and primarily the biggest difference is if you are integrating with an quote-unquote SAP system, such as SAP CRM or SAP Cloud for Customer, then you would want to be using the Enterprise Edition, because that edition is where the functionality comes from. Advanced Edition is our typical HR edition, and generally bought by HR organizations. Functionality-wise, the functionality is actually very similar. It really comes into play is what you're integrating to, if anything. The Advanced Edition generally does not have any third-party integrations, although there are some things in there. But in general, it's going to be the more complex content management ones as you go up in the editions, as well as integrating with other more complex systems such as SAP CRM. Let me just go pick one of the other ones on the SharePoint ones. Question is, for the SharePoint widget, will everything in the SharePoint repository be automatically visible within the subfolders, or do you need to configure Jam to see the individual files and folders? With SharePoint or any of the content management systems, the company administrator or your IT department will configure what repositories are available from the server, and then they will connect the server itself and the general repositories to the SAP Jam system as a whole. Then on a per group basis, you can then select what repository and what content you want to, let me see if I can do this quickly over here, choose to use with the specific groups. So it's configurable multiple ways. So there's repository as a whole, but then on a per group basis, you can then choose what specific folders you want. So you don't have to go tackling, go through dozens and dozens of folders. In the example I showed you earlier, one second, let me just jump to the group where it is. It's the onboarding group. In the onboarding group, I chose specifically to point to a specific folder. That way, the users in the group don't have to go hunting for it. So on a per group basis, you can actually choose specific folders anywhere in the repository. There's another SharePoint question here. Let me a second. Does the remote repository feature come with SAP Jam? The remote repository feature comes with the SAP Jam Advanced Plus Edition. There's actually no software required for it. The integrations are actually built into Jam themselves. The only thing you need to do is provide the credentials and remote repository ID. As I mentioned in the demo, the varying integrations with the remote repositories have different functionality. So out of the box, the SharePoint one is read-only, but if you were to use a different one, or you use a third-party system like the SAP Document Center integration, which we also have, if you integrate to Document Center, which is a separate standalone subscription, you can then integrate your SharePoint server through Document Center to get read-write access in Jam as well. Let me quickly... Question about using SharePoint. Does the content in Jam get automatically updated? As I mentioned in the demo, the content is actually not stored in Jam. Jam is actually querying or asking the SharePoint server in real time to give it a list, to give Jam a list of, hey, show me all the content in this folder. The second the content is uploaded into SharePoint, or if it is revised in SharePoint, Jam is, the next time you go look at it, Jam says, hey, Jam knows that the content is there because the SharePoint server is telling it on the fly that there's a new version. So it is effectively real time because Jam sees it the second that it's updated because the SharePoint system is telling Jam what's available. There's a question about member list. One second. Using dynamic member list, does it automatically also remove members if they no longer meet the set requirements? Yes, it does. That is actually the entire reason why we have dynamic member lists. If a person does not meet the criteria of the member list, the onboarding group, for example, is one because that was a time-based one. I had the onboarding group configured for within the last 60 days. If it becomes day 61, the employees are no longer able to access that group. Presumably because your onboarding program only lasts 60 days, and after that they're no longer part of the onboarding program. But yes, if anyone were to no longer meet the criteria, say for example you had a member list that was for a specific organization, and I were to leave that organization, yes, I would be automatically removed from the dynamic member list, and if the group was bound or had a requirement that anyone in this member list has to be part of that group, they would actually be removed immediately upon the change. a quick note, I mentioned it in the demo, because SAP Jam actually gets all of its employee information from the core HR system. For the most part, for our customers, it's SuccessFactors Employee Central, but we do work actually quite well with third-party systems as well. The Jam system actually gets the employee information in real time. So if I were to change my organization in Employee Central, Jam knows immediately, like within half a second, and all the changes and all the member lists and all the dynamic stuff would change on the fly as well. So there's actually no further maintenance required by the company administrator on the employee side from SAP Jam. There's a question about configuring the content for a specific audience. In Jam, we call that capability, it's a very confusing name actually in my perspective. We call them areas, and we call them administrative areas. So you can actually create an administrative area for sales organization, and you can create another one, say, for service, and you can create another one for, say, marketing people. That is actually controlled by the employee profile. Jam, and you do it by using member lists, coincidentally. You just make an area saying, okay, anyone who's in this area for sales, they would get a new company homepage that would only they would see, for that matter, that it would be their primary homepage, and it would have all the content that they see here. So there's a better view here. So in a sales example, they would have little boxes here. Instead of having learning, for example, so instead of having learning materials here, the salespeople would show quotes or orders or invoices, and they would only see that because this quote area is only accessible to the salespeople, and your access to the area or the member list is based on anything in your employee profile. So you can use a custom field, you can use a department. Department would be easier because that's one of the standard fields in the system. But yeah, anything in a part of your employee profile can be used to determine your membership in an area. Someone asked, how do I overlay text on a picture? Oh, that's actually easy. If I just show you 1 second, it's the image widget, and it is one of those subtle, but one of my favorite things to do. If I go into this, so this is an image widget. If I just click edit, if I put a caption right here.
Oh, Roger, I think you need to share your screen. We're not watching what you're sharing.
Sorry. Well, my bad.
My
bad. Hold on. Okay, tell me when you can see it, Jesse. Sorry.
There we go. We are caught up to you.
Okay, so what I've done is here's my image, and this is an image widget in Jam. If I hit the pencil to edit, the caption that you want is that, and Jam automatically overlays the text right there. Very quick and easy. And by default, though, there's nothing there, so people don't actually, it's one of those subtle things that people don't know about because it's an optional one. If I just remove it, you'll see that there's no text there. Just as a side note, if you really want it, you can actually put a title here and a caption. This is one of my favorite things because otherwise I would have to, before we had this functionality, I actually do Photoshop stuff and I put the text in, which is kind of a pain. And that way now you don't have to go by Photoshop to do something as subtle as putting text on an image. Let me see here. Can tasks be imported or do they get entered one at a time? Tasks are done one at a time because they are actually part of on a per group basis. We do actually have APIs though. If you wanted to do an automated import, that can be done through a custom integration. So if you have a question about that, definitely indicate that you'd like more information and we can get you in touch with the Jam product team and they can discuss the API functionality. Pretty much anything in Jam can be automated in one way or another, including but not limited to member lists and creation of groups or actually uploading content. So SAP, for example, we have our public blog system that we have, and we had a third-party vendor before we had Jam, and we decided to no longer use that system. And so what was done is SAP IT actually wrote a custom migration application to absorb and consume all of the content from our public blog system and import it into SAP Jam for archival purposes. And so they made hundreds and hundreds of groups within Jam and imported all the wikis and images, and that was done by using our APIs. So the same APIs could be used to import and create tasks as well. I don't see any new questions, and we're right on time, Jesse. So I will hand it back to you, and so you can. Oh, if I'm not mistaken, I think you already did the preview, right? poll?
Yes, we are good to go. So I want to say a big thank you for joining us today. A big thanks to our speaker, Roger Noya, and to you, our audience. We thank you for your time and your participation. Would you still like to sign up for a one-on-one demo with SAP? Because in a few moments, a voluntary survey will pop up asking for your feedback on today's session, and it includes a way to schedule a one-on-one demo. It's a great way to reach out and ask for more personalized information, as well as help us shape our future webinars. Just a reminder that today's session has been recorded, and we'll be sending out a link to the replay very soon. We hope that you'll join us for next week's demo, which will cover Employee Central. There's a link to register for that demo, along with the rest of the series located in our resource list. Again, thank you for joining in today's session. Have a great day.